I'm having a super late start to the day today. It's currently about 6 p.m. I've been running around town trying to find all the tools that I need to get this swap done. Been running all around town for a low profile jack. I never really thought that my cars have been hella flush, but the jacking company seemed to think that I need the low profile jack, so, you know, I'll take it. Rule number one about working on cars: never start working until you've had something to eat. I know that once I get started on cars, I get so occupied that I don't want to leave and to go eat. I just want to get everything all done at once, so it's good to feel it before you start the process. Now, one of the main objectives of today is getting the old drive shaft out of Carroll here. I'm going to be doing a trade with one of my friends, Zach, for some parts, so I need to get this out before we can do the trade tomorrow evening. I've got the car jacked up, but of course when I go to open the door, it's locked. And I left my keys back at the apartment, so gotta make a quick little pit stop back. Back with the keys. You know, it never fails. I always manage to forget something whenever I leave the apartment. Doesn't matter what it is. It's always something though. I think one of the first things that I want to do before I actually pull the drive shaft is drain the transmission fluid. That way I don't forget about it later, and when I go to pull the motor, there's not transmission oil all around the driveway. So I'm gonna get that out of the way. Should take a couple seconds. I forgot to film it earlier, but the transmission fluid came out super clean. It's all still fresh, only put in about 5,000 miles ago. I didn't film taking the drive shaft out, but it's an easy enough process. Simply unbolt the two 17mm bolts hanging in this carrier bearing, and then unbolt the four 14mm bolts bolting the drive shaft onto the pumpkin or diff. Pretty easy. Now, it might come across as a big surprise to you, but when I'm working on stuff, I constantly forget what I'm doing or where I put things. So one thing I always do when I'm working on cars or any project this big is I take all my nuts and bolts or any small items or pieces that I may lose, and I put them in a bag and label them. That way I make sure I'm never going to lose these things and I know exactly where they are when I need to get them. Let me know if you need a spare right passenger side fender. Oh look, it's our good friend Adam. Thank you, Adam, for the beautiful engine voice. Can't wait to finally get to use that thing. Get that motor and her. Since it's getting pretty late, there's not much that I can do outside at the moment with the car, as I don't have any bulbs for my lights that I purchased to work on the car. So I figured I'd come in the garage and finally show you guys all the parts that I've been so excited about putting into this new shell. So here are some of the parts that I've been holding on for a while to put into the new 240. So some of the parts that I got for the front end of the car include new intercooler piping, new intercooler all from ISR, new belts, new Mishimoto radiator, and a new GK Tech clutch fan. Now, since my S13 suffered significant front-end damage, I went ahead and replaced all the performance parts up front. Just to be safe, I didn't want to risk running any of those old parts and be chasing any problems. I just wanted to get the car running and be sure that all the parts were in good tip-top shape. Another thing that I went for is a steel single-piece drive shaft from Drive Shaft Shop. Try to say that 5 times fast. If you don't know anything about 240s, this is the old drive shaft. It's a 2-piece unit that has a small carrier bearing in the middle to kind of eliminate any vibrations and whatnot. Now, the 2-piece drive shaft unit utilizes bushings in the middle of the drive shaft, which eliminates any vibrations and gives you a more comfortable ride. However, this does create a little bit of slop. That's why I opted for a single-piece drive shaft, which is also a little lighter by about 5 or 6 pounds, and it's going to be a lot more responsive once we put it in a new 240. Another piece that I opted for as far as eliminating any drivetrain slop was this polyurethane Circuit Sports transmission mount. Now, I was running a Nismo transmission mount, however, it didn't really do anything for me. It's a great mount if you're looking to eliminate vibrations and whatnot, but it shook a lot when I was doing a lot of aggressive driving, and I really wanted something that held the transmission in place so that my stick wasn't flopping back and forth under hard acceleration. I was running a polyurethane before I put the Nismo unit in, so this should work very nicely. Moving along in the drivetrain, I went out and bought myself an SR20 DET 5-speed transmission. Now if you've been around the channel for a while, you'll know that I've been complaining about highway speeds in my 240. At around 75 miles an hour, my RPMs would sit at about 4,000 RPM, and I could not for the life of me figure out why, as my old KA motor sat at around maybe 3,500-ish RPMs at 75. After doing a little bit of research, it turns out that I had an SR20DE transmission that attached to a naturally aspirated SR20, which in turn gives you a shorter fifth gear, which allows your RPMs to sit higher when at higher speeds. Since this is a turbo transmission, my RPM should be able to sit a bit lower at highway speeds in fifth gear, so really pumped that I'm not going to be sounding like a Honda on the interstate. Just kidding, Honda guys. I love Hondas. My mom has a Honda. I wish I had a Honda as a daily driver, on top of the 240 of course. Now to go with that nice turbo transmission we have, I picked up some more Redline MT90. It's great stuff and it comes highly recommended in the S-Chassis community, and I've had no problems in it the last 2 or 3 times that I've used it, so I'm gonna run it again just out of good experience in the past. I also managed to pick up some energy suspension bushings for the steering rack to help eliminate any slop in there. Now one of the many parts that my Teal 240 is missing is some tension rods. So I went after some ISR offset tension rods. This is their Pro unit. It's pretty beefy and powder coated really nice. It's a very solid unit. I can't wait to put these in. Now moving on to some of my favorite parts for the car, which is some interior upgrades. If you saw the interior of the 240 before, you might have noticed a vice grip in the interior in replacement of the steering wheel. What a nice quick release. But anyway, there was no steering wheel and no shift knob. So in order to remedy that, I've gone for a 90mm Tomei shifter. It's really nice, made of plastic, it's not metal, so it's not going to burn my hand when sitting out in the sun all day. A few of the other things I've gotten is a Energy short hub adapter along with an Energy 2.5 version quick release. I've been eyeing this for forever, and I'm really excited that I finally get to put these on my car. And now for the final piece of the puzzle, my steering wheel. It took me forever to finally pick out a wheel that I wanted because I am super picky about what parts I put on my car. And after seeing the Nardi, I just had to go with it. It's an absolutely beautiful steering wheel if I do say so myself. I absolutely love the perforated black leather against the black steering wheel. This is the classic Nardi with red stitching. It's not a deep corn, so it doesn't have a lot of dish. The reason I didn't get a deep corn or a deep dish wheel is because I didn't want the steering wheel sitting too close to my face when sitting in the cockpit. I've just been way excited to tell you guys about it, so let me know if you're excited as well. As I've said before, for this build, let me know if there's anything at all that you guys want to see, any installs, any questions at all. Put them down in the comments. If you're not, make sure you subscribe to keep updated with this build. It's going to be a great process, and I'm excited for the venture that's going to come from it. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, guys.